o'clock last night. Bear with me a little bit, it's going to be a little bit fragmented, but my specialty is equipment. I love servicing equipment and helping people out with equipment. It's also something that I'm never amazed at how bad something is. And they say it's their life support system. So on life support systems, let's look at a car. Right? You get it serviced. You look after it. You check the oil, you put water in, you pump the tyres up, occasionally wash it. But when you wash it, you don't just use water, you actually use soapy water. Now, we've got our life support system of the regulator. Number one, I reckon 50% of this room hasn't had their reg serviced in 12 months. It's too much. How much is your life worth? You do a car service every 10,000 kilometres. Now, the car's going to run for 30 or 40,000 kilometres without any damage. But you still pay your 200 or 300, or depending on the brand, 500 for your service. But as soon as I mentioned when was the last time you had your regulator serviced, it's high, it costs too much. Now, sorry, my life is worth more than a service. More importantly, you won't have to get it serviced as often if you look after it. Now, looking after it is really simple. Wash it. But a couple little bits to add. Don't just wash it in fresh water. Put hair shampoo in. Your favourite hair shampoo, so it smells pretty. The beauty of hair shampoo is it's a degreaser. What gets over all our diving gear is body oils, zinc cream, suntan lotion. You want something that isn't going to wreck the material or be toxic. Hair shampoo is the best. It's one of the best degreasers out there. You can get lemon scented, orange scented. You can go away with conditioner. It doesn't help you, except your suit. But your normal hair shampoo is perfect. Now, do you have to wash it after every dive with hair shampoo? No. Depending on how often you dive. It's like driving a car. If it's sitting there for 3 months, do I have to check the oil? Do I have to? I'll do the tyres, that's about it. So with your diving gear, assume you're not going to be diving, and at least every month, do a really good wash. Now, washing a regulator is real simple, okay? When you've done your diving course, and you can remember back that far, because I know a lot of you have been diving for a while, the usual reaction is put your dust cap on. Okay, everyone's heard of that? Do you think if it held water out, they wouldn't have called it a water cap? So what does it keep out of the first stage? Dust.
And magpies.
Yeah, cockroaches, keeps them out. So there's a reason for it called a dust cap. That's what it's there for, to stop dust. So ideally, to wash it properly, you want it on a cylinder. Okay? Now, some of you mightn't have your own cylinders, you mightn't have a bath big enough to put it all in. So there is other ways of doing it. But remember, that's a dust cap. Some of the dust caps, and this is a classic example, I should call them a water reservoir, because they have a big hole in the middle. So when you come out of the water, you've really got to shake the water out, maybe dry it out. Please don't put it in front of the tank and blow it out. Because you'll blow the O-ring out of the tank, you'll send your body death, and you spray everything everywhere. Okay? So all it takes is maybe a little rag and dry it. Then you can put it back in place, and it's going to work a lot better as a dust cap than a water cap. Now, we can, without any trouble, dump that. Do I want to leave it soaking in water for a day? No. Slosh it round, that's not too bad for most of the rigs. If you've got shampoo in there and it's warm to hot water, even better. Because cold water doesn't dissolve salt. If you ever want to try it, get a glass of cold water, shake the salt in, and it'll go all the way to the bottom. You have warm to hot water, you shake the salt in, it won't hit the bottom. So if it's dried out, warm water. So a bit of a slosh, that's good enough. If you have these things called hose protectors, and they do work, some people hate them, pull them down. Store it or dry it without them. And if you're storing, even with a hose protector, keep the shape.
Now, why is that? Why do you take that off you?
Because if you don't, you're going to get a huge amount of corrosion. And your hose is going to stay wet. So the outside material will start to get soggy after a while. When it gets soggy, it doesn't stay together properly. Also, you can't see whether there is damage. Now, with some of the hoses, the only way you can see whether the hose is any good is to bend it like that. See the way there's no kink? It just bends. But I've taken hose protectors off and done that, and it bends at right angle. Okay? So the hose is wrecked, but they never knew because the hose protector. I get it in for servicing. I pull the hose protector back, and it's growing everything. It's just green. So pull it back every once in a while, make sure they're dry. Once you've dried it and everything's okay, you've checked your hoses, yeah, then you can pull them back again. Now, there is some brands of hose protectors that you've got to be Hercules to get them back. They stick like the proverbial. So any of those ones, it's a couple of brands, but I'm not going to mention them, they do the job, but getting those back is really hard. So have a look at ones that you can get back that's still protected. Because once I do that now, no kinking at all on the hose. So if I wanted to, I could actually hang it up that way. I prefer to have it lying down, don't want the stress, but it's a perfect shape. So washing the first stage, reasonably easy because a lot of the first stages now are environmentally sealed. The beauty of that is no water gets inside the working mechanism at all. Only way water can go in there is your dust cover. So stop water going in there, nothing goes inside. So it's a cosmetic outside wash to stop corrosion. The second stage, that's a different thing. Some of you have probably been told during your course that you just put it in the water, give it a bit of a shake, that's it. You're told never to press this purge button without air on. The reason for that is the sealing mechanism there. When you open it by pressing the purge button, it allows water to run down the hose. If this is up here and your first stage is down there, it runs down into your first stage. So you don't like pressing the purge button. Now the trouble is, when we're in the water, inside water, and we want to purge our rig, we press the purge button. So our mechanism moves inside water. You're never moving it in fresh water. So how can you wash it properly? And also, what's coming out of our mouth during a dive? Saliva. Thank you. Comes out of our nose, comes out of almost every orifice, you know. Hey, it's into your regulator. So you're spitting inside this regulator. And then you put it in cold water and go, what happens to it? It stays there. It dries out. It sticks to the inside. Things start to grow on it. It collects salt, sand, sticks to it. So that little wash doesn't do anything at all. But hair shampoo, warm to hot water, gets rid of saliva real quick. So in there, run it around a little bit, give it a good shake. It'll take all that out. But without doing that, some of the rigs I open up, you can chip out the saliva, it's dried, and it's not nice. Okay? I'm glad I didn't bring some of the pictures because there was one of a commercial diver where it wasn't saliva in there, it was a mixture of oil, grease, I'm talking 2 millimeter thick all over the inside, a dirty yellow color. We don't know what it was. I think it was a surface supply oil coming in. Now, that diver had been using it that morning and only brought it into the shop because he said, "I was leaking a little bit. Can you fix it so I can go back in the water?" It was a hazcat. It was that bad. So it's important to wash them properly. As I said, ideally on air, because on air you can also create an air-water turbulence, which helps get the carrots, the spiders, and everything else that's in there. Okay? So an air-water turbulence also moves that mechanism in warm, soapy water. You don't have to do that every dive. Okay? But often you dive, I say sometimes 4 months. Give it a really good wash. Now, if you've got a knob on the side, excuse me, ladies, gentlemen, you've always got to play with your knob. That's great. But you never move it with your regulator and you don't even know what it does. The amount of regulators that have this knob on the side that is seized up because it's, I don't know what it does, I just leave it there. And if they bought it screwed all the way in, they leave it there. And then there's a lever on the side that says dive, free dive, or maximum and minimum. I never touch that. Makes it too easy to breathe. Come on. So this knob on the side is to make it easier or harder to breathe, the resistance. The lever, red works for you or it doesn't. Free dive, you can press that purge button and it won't run on. But in dive, press that purge button, it'll take off. The way it works is as soon as you start air coming out of this command valve when it's on dive, mechanism goes, you want air, I'll give you enough air, to a set pressure, then I'll stop. If you don't draw it, it fills you up. But it's unstable, that's why we have pre-dive and dive, because if it's in your mouth on dive and you take it out quickly, it'll run on. Yes, you can stop it with the thumb, okay, that's the easiest way. So it becomes unstable, but it's there for deeper diving, so we're not tiring our diaphragm. It will flow, go up your airways, you'll be as happy as can be. Why? And I was diving with a person over in Palau 2 weeks ago. I looked at his regulator, it's this model, he just bought it on the internet. The knob was screwed all the way in, and it was on free dive. And I said, "How are you enjoying your new reg?" He said, "What do you have to breathe?" I said, "Watch this. Oh, if we unscrew it and put it in your mouth and we do that." He goes, "Oh, wow, that's great. No one told me that." So find out what the knob's for, what the lever's for, and how it changes the breathing. You'll be amazed how much it changes. So we're starting to wash it properly now. But when you're on a liveaboard boat, okay, I know a lot of you will travel, and it's a 5 or 7 day trip. Do you have to wash your regulator after every dive? No. Do I wash it at all during that trip? No. What I do is I have a reg bag, and I put it wet in my reg bag and zip it up, and it stays wet. Why would I do that?
Nothing dries out and it's, yeah.
You hang it up to dry like everyone does, you've got salt crystals. Inside, out, all over it. Keep it wet, can't corrode, it's wet. In a bag, it's going to be perfect the whole trip. When you get back, yes, give it a good wash. But I see so many people that come out with a board, they hang up their reg, they hang up their BC, they dry it. Why? You get in the water an hour's time. What do you want to do that for? Salt crystals are sharp inside BCs.
What about some liveaboards, they immediately put your next tank on and pretty much the whole week you're permanently rigged up, and as it compares to taking off and bagging?
They'll try it with me. Take it off. I'm not leaving it there. It's got to be salt spray. Okay? Someone's going to sit on it. Okay? Someone may even press the purge button with no air on. The cockroaches in Queensland are huge. Do I want it sitting out the deck of a boat overnight, cockroaches, spiders and all the rest of it? And a lot of people on dive boats, they go, I'll set it up for you. Do that, I'll break your arms. It's my gear, I look after it. It's like when they bring the camera gear out and go to wash it in the camera basket and wash. How many other houses have been in there? You don't get the salt water again. And I'm sorry, I've seen so many cameras flooded in the wash tub because the next guy just throws it on top, the next guy throws it on top. Yeah. So also the water on the boat, bore water. You want that through your leg? No. So I keep it wet, have it in the bag, finish my diving, the night, okay, put it back in the bag, put them in the tub underneath. Come out in the morning, I assemble my rig on. I want it done properly. I want to make sure it works. And I don't want it sitting in the environment for spiders, cockroaches, and everything else. So it's life support. It's fine. I'll look after it. So you can look after things, washing, keeping them wet if you're on a long trip, a good wash afterwards. If you wash the rig on a tank, it's so much better. If you haven't got a tank and you're really worried about the amount of muck in your second stage, if you hold the first stage up here, I can put that in warm hot soapy water, press the first one, work it. Water can't get up. What I need to do afterwards is then put it on a tank, blow the water in. You can do it. I know small sinks, you've only got a big 12-litre tank, it's hard sometimes. But usually you've got a little bit of air left in the tank. So put this around after you've washed it around your neck. Give it a wash, that's your bird butt, everything. Go across, dip in the power, put it on your tank, turn it on, blow the water in. You can do it. This is the workhorse, the motor, but it is extremely durable for abuse. It's made for the diving industry. So that's really durable. Where the problem starts, of course, is that this gets dragged in the sand, we spit in it, we throw up in it, we do everything. So that's the one we really want to start to take some care of. Your gauges, whether you wash your gauge or not, it doesn't matter too much. It's best to wash it and do it all, but it's not going to worry you too much. And as Pete said, when you have your scuba feet, you get the corrosion in there, guaranteed. Now, to make it even quicker, if you want to buy vinegar and you want to use it solely for cleaning this, go to the supermarket and go to the cleaning aisle. There is cleaning vinegar. Can't put it on your fish and chips, but it's a heavier concentrate. And it's really quick. It's great for cleaning everything else as well, but it's great for these because you can put it in there. Now, Pete was saying to get the toothpick. That's a hard way of doing it. You get your BC, the nipple on your BC that goes in there, the right smear on that, stick it in, okay. You get a smear on those little roller bearings, and you're working it back and forwards. And once you've done that, if you're a bit sloppy and
That's the
angry,
big thing I'm saying, I disagree.
Yeah.
So how often do you do that, Jim?
that every once in a while, that's all. You know, it doesn't take a lot, but no one washes this. That's the trouble. If you wash it, you won't have to do it too much. But everyone looks after the first stage, the second stage. But how many of you put this in the water and run hot water through it? We got one. Okay. Yep. Yep. Do the vinegar. It's not gonna, look, you don't want to leave it overnight. So usually a minute to 5 minutes. If it's really bad, and I see some of the ones that have been used out here, I'm not looking at some people, half an hour, okay? But it'll free it up.
How would the second stage reaction do?
Well, if you want to taste vinegar for the whole dive, by all means, clean it with vinegar. I definitely don't want to taste vinegar. Okay? So the trouble with vinegar, it's not going to affect pasties, but it's an awful taste that it smells. Okay? You don't want that anywhere where you put in your mouth. There is areas where you can spot corrosion, but stop the corrosion before it starts by washing it. That's a lot easier. And when and if you do get it serviced, the technician will love you, because a lot of technicians now, the cost and the time and the damage is done because it's never been washed properly. They've got a brake pass to open it up. So keep it washed, keep it working. Now, as Pete said, before you go for your dive, it's been stored for a while. The first stage is real easy to see whether it's working. It's like a dip tube for checking your oil, and it's not expensive, and it looks like that. Buy them for about $30. What that does is once you've washed your scuba feed hose, it clicks in. When you turn your tank on, it tells me what pressure is coming down the line. Now, I'm not super accurate, these cheap ones, but it's not for accuracy. It's to see whether there's a fault in your first stage, because I can turn that in and watch the gauge, and if it doesn't stop and it keeps creeping, it needs a service. If it stops, it's working perfectly. Really easy. Dip in, white, oil's okay. Click, look at it. Needle stops. My motor is working perfectly.
Can I ask, if you breathe through your second stage with it on, how much should it or can it move, or in terms of reducing the pressure?
Okay.
I've got one of those.
Yeah. Depending on the valve being open, okay, and the second stage, it can drop from the average is around about 10 bar, okay, on this, it can drop down to about 7 with a hard inflation, depending on whether it's a 4-cylinder car, V6 or a V8, okay? In other words, how high performance your regulator is, but it will drop. As we go deeper, it drops even more because the air's thick.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking at the surface as the check is whether or not the first stage.
No, you don't have to. Your pressure gauge tells you that. If it's not on properly, and of course, everyone, as soon as they turn their tank on, puts their reg in their mouth, puts their pressure gauge in front of them and goes with a big suck.
Yeah.
If the needle doesn't move, your valve's open. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a fail-safe system. It's open, it's working. So what that's showing me is if the sealing seat is wearing a little bit. Now, once stop, it'll just make your regulator run on. You'll get more air.
So is that a low pressure?
Low pressure.
gauge? Low pressure.
Yeah, low pressure goes onto the scuba feed. That pressure is the same as what's going to our regulator. The technician will usually set it, depending on the brand, between 9 and 10 bar. But who cares what it reads? As long as it's stable. You know, we never use these because I'm not accurate as a technician. We have a bigger gauge, oil filled, all the rest of it. But we're tuning a regulator. We need to know the exact pressure. This is just to see whether it's locking up. It's all okay. So we know it's all okay. The other thing that I check once I turn the air on, if it's been stored for a while, is how far I can move this purge button before air comes out. Because the mechanism in here is always sitting on its seat, storage. It's rubber silicon material and it will bed in. And there is a way of lowering the lever height and fixing that, but you need to know whether it's close or not. Now, if you just touch that purge button and it starts to leak, within the next month or two, it'll be leaking better. It's just an adjustment. Technician can do that real easy. I say to most people I service the regs for, 6 months time, if it starts to run on a little bit, bring it back 2 seconds. I can adjust it. That's all it is. So by moving that a little bit and nothing happens, we know the lever's in the right position. Sometimes they rattle a little bit. That's fine. So we'll check that that's okay. Our purge is okay. We'll make sure our adjustments are done as to what we need. And If we have one of those, we know the motor's working perfectly. It's all ready to go. So that's all it takes to keep your life support system working properly. Now, there's a couple other things Pete mentioned with regards to checking the O-ring in the tank. That's fine, but what he didn't mention is there's different hardness of O-rings. So if it's feathered a little bit on the outside, it's too soft an O-ring. The dive shop sold it the wrong way. If it's cracked, it's probably the right. It's called durometer, okay? And it's 70 shore or 90 shore. The average O-ring, almost everything in there is a 70 shore. But high pressure areas, it goes to a 90, it's harder. So the 90, yes, it'll crack after a while, it's old or whatever. Okay? So make sure that you're getting the right one from the dive shop or wherever you're getting them. Because the 70, hey, you might only get, okay, it's just not there to handle high pressure. So make sure you are checking that over, but you're putting the right one in. Now, if you ever get a chance, when you squeeze the 70 and you squeeze the 90, you'll tell straight away. Okay? So that's just make sure it's the right O-ring. Now, yep.
Question. Most people, including myself, understand the 70 and 90,
Yep.
there's no perspective for us.
No.
We see O-rings in a black, white, brown,
Pink,
green.
yellow, all
Yeah,
different colours.
they typically have, and each of those have their own, you know, nitrites and.
No, okay, what you've got, previously, it was, everything was black.
Yep.
And then they brought out white on O-rings,
Yeah.
both nitrox. Now, that was green, that seems to be the industry standard, they kept that as green.
Yeah.
Now, a white on O-ring is very hard, and it will also be brittle and it flakes off. Okay, so I won't get into the topic of nitrox and white on O-rings, okay? Just to say one thing, that if there's a burn with a white on O-ring, you're dead. It burns with a toxic gas, which is more toxic than cyanide. So if the flame doesn't kill you, don't worry about it. Okay, you're dead. So they stopped starting to use white on O-rings and they're slowing down using them. And it was all because there was a case in America, downstairs where they're pumping the O2 up to all the patients, they had white on O-rings in there. There was a minor burn down there. By the time the person realised there was a burn and let upstairs know, 3 of them were dead. So they stopped using it.
So, Jim, getting back again,
Yeah.
is we can recognise things by colours.
The colour is irrelevant for the next one. It's an EPDM O-ring, which is a really good O-ring. It's specialised for nitrox as well as normal air, and it comes in a rainbow of colours.
Yeah.
Okay, but the colour doesn't designate anything. Not hardness, not anything else, it's purely colour.
Because I kind of see the electrons that come
Yeah.
in whites and browns and greens.
They are, and that's the average. Look, someone may be doing a white on O-ring now, but the industry standard when it first came out was green. That was it. Then we started to see some browns coming out, and Scuba Pro had a red, a yellow, and something else. That's all just EPTM because they come out in all different colours. They wanted it to look better, and for the technician, they thought, well, let's make it really simple for the technician. Red O-ring goes in this spot. Yellow O-ring goes in that spot. So that's all it was. But EPTM is the best O-ring material. So if you see a coloured one, as long as it's not real hard, it's probably EPTMs.
So that effectively that's what you ask.
Well, I mean, if you can get it, it's more expensive, right? But the regulator manufacturer will put out a service kit. Whether I agree with the service kit or not, that service kit goes in that regulator. It's like when you go across to a Holden technician, he will put Holden parts in there. The guy around the corner goes, this is as good as a Holden, I'll put this in. In regulators, as far as I'm concerned, a technician, who's a true technician, will only put the kit from the manufacturer into your regulator. So there should be not much need in you ever buying O-rings or worrying about it. Okay? Now, the other O-ring that wears out a lot is in your gauge swivel. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can undo the water tightness nut of your pressure gauge, not do it up properly, and the next time you get in the water, it floods. So major leaks, find a good technician, talk to someone. Now, does it have to be serviced every 12 months? We'll talk in a second. Yeah, another question.
Yes. How does it start to burn an O-ring?
Okay, what happens with an O-ring is usually it's by what's called adiabatic compression. So what that is a high concentration of oxygen, and there's a little pit. And the air's coming down, and it hits that pit, forms an adiabatic compression, which can generate a spark.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a whirlwind, is it?
Strong. No, not even a whirlwind, just hit and go through. It's called adiabatic compression. It hits, and that's enough to spark, and off it goes.
No way. That can happen in your regulator.
Yep. If it's not cleaned properly, it's set up.
It does, that's not.
Okay, it would normally happen when you first pressure, okay, on the surface. And saying that, one has burnt underwater, but it was his pony bottle, and you had pressurized it on the surface. He was down there, he wanted to grab it, so we turned it on, lucky it was facing the other way, and the thermic gas came out. Okay? Because that's what we have. In a matter of 4 seconds, that first stage will be melted for us. Not even 4 seconds. And the flames will probably come out the end here, so this will completely be destroyed. It's incidents of thermic lance. It is so powerful to burn.
Just out of curiosity, is there a video of something to show me? I can't imagine how this can work.
There has been, but you won't be able to see it. When I released the nitrox component for Aqua in the early days, they were owned by Air Liquide, which is the biggest industrial gas manufacturer in the world. So I had to go across and look at videos that no one sees as to what can happen with oxygen when it burns. Okay? One of the classic ones was that you're pumping in liquid oxygen, you walked away from the area, lit up a cigarette. His clothes were permeated through liquid oxygen. Instant. So the other see. Okay.
What levels of oxygen concentration are we talking about here?
Okay, by Air Liquide standard, I don't think it's about 25% oxygen.
Oh, wow, what?
By the diving industry standard, 40%. Okay.
That's
So I had a lot of negativity when I went down and said anything above 25 will exhibit the characteristic burn of 100% O2. The diving industry is now decided on 40. So I'm not arguing with them. I'm just saying that's what I was told in the early days when I had it. So yeah, look, oxygen when it burns, you don't do that. You don't want to be able to do it. But I've seen so many people, oily hands having the regulators, and I should be right. I see people with spike mixes of 90%. They can drive over there. So but that's their choice in the diving industry. So the industry standard, 40%, anything above 40%, you have to have it clean for 100% O2. Anything above 5%, and that's why I stay with it. So if you're running nitrox, you've got a dedicated regulator, you've got to treat it with kid gloves. No oil, no hydrocarbons anywhere near it. Even the grease off your finger, you've got to be real careful with. Especially if you're running.
Not in your workshop.
And one more follow-up question to the regs when storing them, because of the knob and the valve and whatnot.
Yep.
Is there a preferred position for those for long-term storage?
No,
Not
that's
for
fine.
seatings or something?
No, these ones, in fact, if you have it adjustable,
Yeah.
open all the way, it takes some of the pressure off that little seat that's in there.
Okay, okay,
If you have the lever, it doesn't matter.
right.
But
But,
you want to work both those in hot soapy water before you store it.
but to increase the life of the seating, it would be better to kind of
Well,
put it out.
that's it. Yeah. In the early days, there used to be what's called a purge button suppressor that used to go down, it would hold the lever open. trouble was, spiders and everything else got right down into the hoses. So, you know, you washed the outside, you took your first breath, and whatever that lump was disappeared down your throat. You don't ask questions.
Full protein.
Now, when you're on your Liverpool boat, the other reason I put it in the bag is that the Queensland cockroaches love silica. Okay? They eat it. Exhaust valves, ventilation valves, mask skirts, valves and snorkels. Okay, you know, they are huge. They just chew into it. So the thing I always do, and even down here, before I put my regulator on a tank, I put my thumb over that, put it in my mouth, and breathe in. If I can't breathe in, my inhalation diaphragm and my exhaust is okay, it hasn't been chewed out. Okay, and then go to my hockey. Put my thumb over it. It's okay. I take the thumb off. This is open. First stage is always open. Takes the air pressure to close it. It's fine. You don't want things running down the hose water-wise. But that's the test I do because I've been out, I was teaching a young kid. We were doing the octopus breathing. He didn't have a buddy, so I went across to him, gave me out of there, he gave me his hockey. I put the hockey in the mouth and I went back to the reg, took off the exhaust cover. It was inverted in half. His dad had decided to wash it properly by putting a hose down the exhaust of the okay? That would have been never picked up by the way everyone looks after their rigs. Never. I've got regulators back that the cockroach got in and chewed a big hole in the inhalation diaphragm. They wouldn't have known that until they got in the water. Breathes beautiful on the surface, everything's fine. You give it the suck test. You don't know. You could have cracked housing, you could have a torn mouthpiece. Inhalation diaphragm, exhalation diaphragm, are the four major areas where water leaks into a rig. I've just done most of those just by stopping the air coming through and sucking them. Then I'll put it on, make sure that valves are working okay, all the levers are working okay, it's breathing okay, the gauge is reading okay. I'm happy to go for a dive. So long-term storage doesn't wear it out unless you haven't washed it properly before you put it in storage. So washing is critical. That's all you're going to do. It's not hard. So wash your gear. Your servicing costs will be better. It'll last longer. Now, the change which is happening now was previously most wholesalers said to keep your warranty, you've got to get it serviced every 12 months. Now, one had a deal that you would get parts for life as long as you serviced it every 12 months. This how one 12 months, they hit you really hard in that price of parts that they were recommending. Now, most of the major wholesalers are starting to go every 2 years for a service. Bring it in at 12 months for a check, and a technician will check it, look at things like the filter and line pressures and all the rest of it. If all the boxes are ticked, off you go, bring it back in 2 years. I've got a friend that looks at it and goes, okay, yeah, fuck the washing machine, I've got a 5-year warranty, at 6 years it'll fail, I'll throw it in the bin. I'll just keep working it. Whatever technician, whatever you want, doesn't worry. But it is life support. And if you wash it properly, I've got no qualms with you going 18 months, 2 years, maybe even 3 years. If, when you put the gauge on, it's stable and it's breathing. The reason we said 12 months is we know people don't wash it properly and it's full of all the slime that's in there, so we clean it out. We never used to tell you how bad it was. Now we're saying, okay, look, it's like a car. You keep your warranty, you've got to get it done every 10,000 K. I look at the oil that came out, so I used to work as a mechanic, and it's perfect. Nothing wrong with it. So So few people must have been screaming. Now they're going, oh, every 15,000 K. Soon it'll be 20. They bought an oil out a while ago that every 100,000 K you change your oil. So don't think about that it's $200 or $300. Think about you paid 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 for it. Okay? It's your life. How good is your life? Doesn't take much. Now, there's one other thing, which is just a silly little thing, which I thought I'd bring because it was off the cuff. You've all seen the YouTube clips of how to stop fogging on a mask. Have you with the cigarette lighter?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that guy's worth a fortune. All the wholesalers love him because everyone's wrecking their mask. It's fantastic. Just keep doing it, please. Do it. I love it. I get a mask sent back to me saying a warranty defect. There's burn marks around it. Oh, I don't think I'm going to give you a warranty defect. Okay? You can use the defogging and the scrubbers that all the dive shop have. Best thing to clean a new mask is Jif. Now, males, you might do things, talk about your other partners or whatever. Jif is a cream cleaner. It's readily available in supermarkets and it's fantastic.
Very clean.
Yeah, I know. But just remember the name Jif when you go to your partner. Just go, please get me some of that stuff you said, Jif. Yeah. So,
That's surprising though, isn't it?
Well,
It's got a bit of pricing.
yeah, you could use it on glass, stainless steel, polish things up, it's fantastic. But if you don't want to do that, you've all got mobile phones, have you? When you got the mobile phone, did you buy the screen protector? Get it put on? Well, the diving industry now has a defog protector. Can be large or small, single frame, be nice, large or small. Your brand new mask, peel it off, use instructions, get all the bubbles out. Don't get in water before you put it on to go for a dive, and that's it. Not foggy, 18 months, 2 years, depending on how often you dive.
You take it off it after each dive, or you leave it on?
No, it stays on. All you've got to do, no one reads the instructions, so that's why I'm telling you. Okay? The important bit is, but the defog to work, you've got to wet it first. The water sits in the material, won't fog it. That's it. No speeding, no defog, no burning, no nothing. It's about $30. Okay, it's different size masks. And instructor, he got 18 months, 2 years out of it. And all you do is peel it off like you do when you phone, put a new one on. It's real simple. I'm not going to lose a lot of mask sales, okay? But it's really simple.
You know, you have to burn that on.
Well, in YouTube, and I'll endorse it, okay? So, but yeah, and it's just a simple little thing. And, during COVID and all the rest of it, there was this hoo-ha. And again, I just come back from Palau and they're going around with the Johnson baby shampoo and an eyedropper and going, you want your defog? You want your defog? I hate defog because they don't wash it out properly. It burns your eyes and they're using really heavy shampoo. So
The Jif works pretty well, you reckon?
the Jif works beautifully. In the aquarium, Melbourne Aquarium, when you get new masks in, I'll do a heavy hit with Jif. Won't touch it for the next 3 months. Won't hit a Jif.
And there's still wool as well.
I mean, let's buff it up nicely. We get a cutting compound as well, and throw it in there. We can have little patterns on the sides.
If you just, like, I've been doing the burning, and then I put toothpaste and cleaned up, and then all I ever do after that is a little bit of shampoo in there before I dive, and
Look, shampoo's fine, but what I'm finding is people don't wash the shampoo out properly, and they get a little bit in their eye, next one is burning, and, they're trying to get the shampoo out of their face, so. And I just looked at it, and look, I've spit in my mask, I always have. But I looked at it and I saw this and went, well, I don't have to spit, I don't have to do anything. Brand new, I don't have to go home and scrub it and do everything else, just put it on, don't put it on my face and off I go. So it's just something to think about. There is things that make your life easier. And they're starting to come up with some nice little gadgets, and it does have the instruction booklet, but it's got pictures, you're okay?
Brian, that's for you.
Yeah.
YouTube pictures.
I even know.
Well, I hope so, give you some more, then. So, I want to take away the pictures, so it's got a lot more. So that's with washing. Now, we talked about the BC, yeah, that's a big one, because most of you, again, don't wash your power inflator. You don't work it under hot soapy water. Okay, you give it that's it. Sometimes you might put a little bit of fresh water inside it, slosh it around and go out, but most is hot water, the soft crystals will still be there. And when you occasionally, no one does it now, but in the early days, we used to orally inflate our BC. Okay, everyone just presses the button now. Now, that was critical for us to put a antibacterial something in there, because again, in America, one of the rental BCs, those days we used to teach in emergency, you can breathe up your BC. Two guys died because the person beforehand orally inflated with influenza. And it really grew inside the BC, so, it killed them. But that's something I keep my BC clean, because I can come up to 40 metres of water by blowing into the BC and breathing it back in. I'm not saying you do it. I'm just saying there is ways out there. Okay? Because what's the partial pressure of oxygen at 40 metres of water? How much air have I got in my BC? Okay? A lot of you are old enough. We used to play the paper bag trick. Okay? Put the paper bag down. See how many breaths we could get before we fell over. Everyone's half it, everyone's done it. Okay, so you knew that out of one breath of air, you could get at least 4 or 5 cycles before you got a little bit dizzy. So the amount of air that's in our BC, if you get a major leak of your second stage, okay, and you can't stop it, stop. That's it. Go to your Rocky.
As soon as someone mileage did that at the bay one day,
Yep.
there's all the air coming up, but he came up with a vent like that.
Yeah. Stops 90%.
Yeah, then you do it.
So, a major breathe time, Peter had it with you, and that's why I told him after it happened, of course, wouldn't have done it before. But, so there is ways of doing things, okay, but part of what Pete and I do is the configuration. I mean, for those that haven't seen this before, it's a little bit different to a normal rent hose. Different looking. If you want to know more about it, watch this space. I'm sure we're going to have a gear configuration day coming up. And that's where we take you out of your comfort zone. And I warn you, okay, we do full bailouts, blackouts, breathing, both people blacked out. We're going to take you out of your comfort zone. You should be able to, as a good, knowledgeable diver, put together your tank, rig, and BC in pitch black darkness. It's called visualization. You shouldn't have to. Instructors have it because we're too busy watching our students to see what we're doing. So we just put that on, got this right, doing that, looking at our students, and it's all done. Because you visualize it. And it saves a lot of panic when you can visualize everything and you know where everything is. Your hockey's always around your neck. You don't have to feel for it. Put it up, put it in, blowing hose. But putting it together gives you so much more confidence at night. It's black room, put your BC on, do everything. You should be able to do that. And that's, again, repetitive. Give it a try one time. First time you do it, it's really nerve-wracking. But after that, no.
So Jim, how often should you put warm soapy water in your BCD? Always, pretty much always wash it out with fresh water after every dive.
Look, that's a start. Again, 6 monthly. I call it the grease and oil change. Okay, that's 6 monthly. Do your hot water for your rig, do your BC. Okay, but don't fall into the trap. Everyone puts the hot water in through the inflator, flushes it round, then turns it upside down and runs the dirty water back through the inflator. You just wrecked it all. So, flush it in through the top, swash it around the place, almost everyone's got a rear dump.
Oh, okay.
Blow it up, either manually, it's too hard, put it on a tank, blow it up, pull the bags up, blows all the crap out. All done. So you're washing your inflator, you're washing the inside of your BC, and taking all the oils every 6 months off your BC. It'll last longer. It won't smell as much. Okay? You can do the same with your dye boots. Okay? No one in their dye boots, but when no one does it, the best way to get rid of the smell is lemon scented shampoo. Lemon scented shampoo, bit of warm water, swash it around, let it stand for 5 minutes. Okay? Your boots will smell beautiful afterwards. Your tenure will stop. People will stay next to you instead of going away. Your wetsuit's beautiful after the shampoo. Yeah, it takes all the body oils off. Dry suits. Everything can be washed in a shampoo. And if you're a traveling salesman like I am, I keep all the spare bottles at our hotels. It's fantastic. I can get the flavour every week. I've got all these little bottles lined up. It's fantastic. But it's really easy. It doesn't cost you much. Every piece of your equipment will look really nice after a shampoo. Do you have any other further questions?
Hoses, rubber on the stuff.
Okay, here's a good one for you. The original MyFlex braided hose, well made. Good. It doesn't have MyFlex on it. Don't forget. The reason I say that is the Chinese have copied everything. Well, the Chinese copy of that hose, to give you an idea, I had a brand new 7-foot hose, filled up in this original bag for 2 years. I was using it on my air gun. Other one disintegrated, put it on, stressed it out, turned the tank on, leaked all the way through because it had formed its shape and it broke. I've actually cut it open and I've got the sample. Okay. The other problem they had was that they were using the wrong material. So as the air was coming down, it was taking microscopic bits off and forming little balls just where it joins your second stage there, and it was going to start to clog it up. So that's the Chinese copy. The other ones aren't bad. There's some negatives with it. They float. So if you're working a 7-foot hose wrapped around your neck, it's going to go up here. More importantly, it's going to wear your neck suit out. It's like sandpaper. Okay? So the 7-foot hoses, no rubber. I am working casually for a commercial company. They have what's called bailout, which is a first stage and just a scuba feed hose that goes into their special glass. Okay? And there's a hose there, a rubber hose, the original one, which has been in the commercial application since 1974. Okay, I've got hoses, old, I won't say how old, which are still perfect, the original rubber hoses. But more importantly, they flow more air. So I can change 5 hoses on that first stage, and with the machine, I can tell the flow. And the flow coming out of the hose can range from 900 to 1400 litres of air per minute, just on the hose. Okay. So are hoses hoses? No. Some are small bore, some are big bore. I can understand the MyFlex, but the trouble was I never wore out a rubber hose. Okay. So why change it? It's cheaper. Now, the first MyFlex, it was braided, but the trouble was that it would lift little spikes of it up. And MyFlex said, you've got more than 4 spikes, come down your hose. Within a week in commercial application, I have 50. What are we going to do? Throw it away every week? I've had a rubber hose in commercial application for 40 years. So just because it's new and different, the flow was very good out of MyFlex hoses. I've got no problems with the flow. Their internal structure is good and durable. It seems to be okay, but in 20 years' time, I might say something different. I don't know in 20 years. I know the Chinese ones are great. Okay? And I've even seen a couple that have EN 250 on it, the CE approval. And I'm scratchy as to whether, yeah, it's a real one or not. Okay? Because you can't sell anything in Europe to do with diving without what's called a EN 250. Okay, it's a standard over there and it's coming into Australia as well. So, you know, and it costs money to have it tested authorised. So I think there's been a little bit of copying of EN 250 stamps. So, but hoses, look, whatever you can get, but yes, there is good hoses and bad hoses.
Another hose question.
Yep.
As I bought my regs, my Oki is longer.
Yep.
But I've gone to wearing it around my neck.
Yep.
And my second stage has a shorter hose.
Yep.
Should I change it to a long hose? So I've got a share air and I've got the short.
Exactly, okay. What Peg and I talk about is that we have two different length hoses. There's not much difference between. Right? The long one is the one I use. So that when I give it to someone, it just get the hell away from it. As far away as possible. I don't want everything to do with you, you know? In some respects, I hope you drown, so you're not using my head. But go away. The shorter one is here. So the one that you want is the shorter, is the hockey, the one you're picking up, the long one, but you've got to have it long, you need an elbow. Okay? So it comes underneath your arm, comes up. And that's great because it means there's no upside down on the regulator now. The swing it in any position. No upside down, but without that, I can't do it that way. But now I can do it that way. And I let their eyes get back into their head at that distance, because all of us have our comfort zone. And if I just walk forward on this gentleman right now, I'm in his comfort zone. And it's sort of like, well, get out of my comfort zone. So why do I want someone panicking with me making it worse? Whereas back here, they're relaxed, I'm relaxed. So that longer hose gives them a chance to relax. But more importantly, they'll do what everyone else does. When they take your regulator, they will turn away from you. And it's childhood upbringing. My toy, you know, and then after a few minutes, if you're still alive, they'll turn back. But until then, they never get back on. And they will always take the one that works. Always. Do every test you like. I don't care the instructor organisations. Every time I've had someone come to me, they've taken my money. Every time. It's natural, it's survival. I'm going to where there's air. I can't see this silly little thing they're waving over here. I have fixated on a narrow beam air. I get lost. Every time. So have yours fair twice. If that's the one you're going to use. I'm going to say, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Jim, I really do appreciate you